This was amazing. Flip to St. Brown. The Goff special. Awesome. Amazing. The Lions offense and quarterback Jared Goff shine in a Monday night performance victory over the Seattle Seahawks 42-29, moving the Lions to 3-1, and the Seahawks will also now fall to 3-1. Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Johnny Gaz. Thank you for returning for another video. What a entertaining game on Monday Night Football. Lions and Seahawks, another fantastic offensive output by both teams. Really, that's historically been what we've expected to see, and it held true here on Monday night. We're going to go through the details of this game. We'll break it down for you. We'll look at the team stats, the scoring summary, the box score, and what the impact will be on the rest of the season. Let's go. Before we get into the fun of Monday night, make sure to hit that like button. If you dig the vibe here at Johnny Gaz Sports, I'd love it if you consider subscribing to the channel. We just got done our live play-by-play and reactions there for members here. We have also a ton of other fun free content and, of course, everything you've come to love here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you hit the notify bell, it's the best way to make sure you don't miss any future videos. Thank you guys so much. Let's dive into this football game. Lions ride the back of a near-perfect performance by quarterback Jared Goff and their offense. Another entertaining Monday Night Football matchup. These two teams just bring the points anytime they get together. Let's start by looking at the scoring summary from this game. Teams trade punts, then the Lions get the scoring started, reestablishing their running dominance. David Montgomery on a 1-yard rush, 12 plays, 93 yards. Lions go up 7-0. Jahmyr Gibbs then gets involved in the running game. He gets a 3-yard run for a touchdown score. Only needed 3 plays, 14 yards. I believe this was after the DK Metcalf fumble. That brought it to 14-0 Lions. Kenneth Walker then gets involved. Seattle opens up their scoring with a 1-yard touchdown run after a 10-play, 70-yard drive, 14-7 Lions. Jahmyr Gibbs has another rushing score, this time from 1 yard out on a 9-play, 70-yard drive. This was 21-7 Lions. That would end the scoring for the first half. Moving into the third quarter, Seattle starts to get their offense really humming. A.J. Barner on a 9-yard pass from Geno Smith, 10 plays, 75 yards, 21-14 Lions at that point. This is when the throwback pass happens, the Goff special, as I'm calling it. Amon-Ra on the end around. Throwback pass to Jared Goff. 5-play drive, 70 yards. Jared Goff his first receiving touchdown. Amon-Ra his first throwing touchdown of their careers. 28-14 Lions at that time. Kenneth Walker, another rushing touchdown, 1-yard run. 2-point pass conversion failed. That brings it to 28-20 after an 8-play drive, 80 yards. It only took 1 play for the Lions to get back in the scoring category. Jamison Williams' crossing pattern takes it all the way. A 70-yard pass from Jared Goff brings it to 35-20 at that time. That ends the scoring for the third quarter. Then moving into the fourth quarter, Kenneth Walker makes maybe his most dynamic play of the day, a 21-yard scamper. Has to cut back, run all the way around the Lions' right end side after a 7-play, 70-yard drive. This makes it 35-27. Lions starting to feel the pressure. Although they are able to put something together, the Lions in return, getting it to their bread and butter player, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Terrific toe tap after a 7-play, 80-yard drive. This really sort of puts their foot down on this matchup, making it 42-27 at the time, really putting the Seahawks behind it. Lions actually get the stop. They're able to get the ball back. They were pinned deep. They have the unfortunate safety. Jared Goff initially ruled out of the end zone. They review it, do call it a safety. However, the Lions defense does hold. They get the Kirby Joseph interception to end this game. Final score 42-29. Very entertaining matchup here on Monday Night Football. Let's take a look at those team stats. Now, buzzing through the team stats, and without looking at this in detail just yet, I think the Seahawks controlled the time of possession, even without knowing what the number is yet. But they had more first downs, 38 to the Lions, 21. Total plays, they ran 78 total plays to the Lions, 50. That's pretty incredible. 516 yards to the Lions, 389. Had the same amount of drives, however. Passing yards, again, Geno Smith, probably the most passing yards against the Lions in his career, 383 versus the Lions, 273. Same thing, rushing attack. Seahawks actually held the edge here as well. 133 rushing yards to the Lions, 116. That's actually surprising. On 19 rushing attempts, a 7-yard average. So Seahawks actually ran the ball decently. I thought they started very slow, but picked it up towards the end of the game there as points started to rack up. Penalties. I think both teams were a little sloppy. Lions especially. 12 penalties for 101 yards. They have got to clean that up. A big difference in this game, the turnovers. Obviously, the DK Metcalf fumble early on in the game was a killer. Lions were able to convert that into a touchdown and go up 2 scores, and they really held on to that 2-score lead the entire game. And then you see here the possession, 34 minutes, 4 seconds for Seattle to the Lions 25-56. So kind of the opposite of what we saw in the game Lions versus Bucks, where Lions were just not able to convert in the red zone. That really wasn't the problem for the Seahawks here. I just think the Lions were able to get key stops when they needed it, and the Lions offense was just too much for the depleted Seahawks front seven. And even though I thought that the secondary held up well, I just thought the Lions were able to make enough plays, timely plays, and keep their foot on the gas here in the second half to be able to run away with this football game. And let's take a look at the box score, the individual stats. Let's start with Geno Smith. 38 of 56. He had to throw the ball 56 times in this matchup, and I know he's had a ton of success through the air against the Lions, and maybe that's just the bread and butter here and the formula against the Lions, but I just think that, you got to mix it up more. He threw for 395 yards, had the score, had the interception at the end there, kind of in garbage time, just trying to make something happen. Was sacked 3 times, but I thought played very well. I think historically he plays well against the Lions, and that held true in this Monday Night Football matchup. On the other side, I think Jared Goff was just fantastic. To me, he is the MVP of this game. He gets my game ball, the offensive MVP. The overall MVP for me is Jared Goff. 18 of 18, 292 yards, 2 scores, no interceptions. He was sacked 3 times. But I thought he looked poised. He looked in control. There was only a couple drives there where I thought things sort of faded off. But I think compared to other games and for really what they needed in this game against Seattle as they started to put the pressure on in the second half, he was really, really good. So we have to tip our cap to Jared Goff. Rushing attack. I thought early on Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery looked really fantastic. I thought they got away from David Montgomery a little bit in this game and then kind of leaned on Jahmyr Gibbs, who was able to make some plays. Both these guys scored touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs had 14 carries for 78 yards, 2 scores. David Montgomery, 12 carries, 40 yards, and the touchdown. Overall, 28 carries, 116 yards, 3 scores. A good day at the office for those two. On the other side of the coin, Kenneth Walker, 12 carries, 80 yards. I think just a couple flash plays there that really contributed to that. They did have 19 carries for 133 yards overall. Geno Smith aided in that a little bit with 38 yards of his own. And Zach Charbonnet, not a huge factor. I'm actually surprised with how well he played the previous week. 2 rushes for 15 yards for him. Receiving, J-Mo had the big play, 2 receptions, 80 yards, had the score, the 70-yard bomb. That's the play that is dangerous with this Lions offense. If he gets free over the middle and has any sort of space, that man is gone. And he showed it to you here. Sam Laporta got involved, 4 receptions, 53 yards. I thought Tim Patrick looked good. He made a couple good catches there and seemed to have a rapport with Jared Goff. They were big catches, not just garbage time. 2 catches, 52 yards. And I thought he was very good. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 6 catches, 45 yards, had the toe tap catch, touchdown. Again, wasn't a major factor in the game, but had timely catches. And, of course, the touchdown catch is exactly what they needed in that moment. So I will give another game ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown and a 3rd game ball on offense to Jahmyr Gibbs. I also want to shout out the Lions offensive line. I thought they held up very well for missing All-Pro Frank Ragnow, Graham Glasgow shifting the center, and then Coyote Owasika on the guard position. I thought both of them held up very well in this game. Seattle receiving, DK Metcalf again. He's just a tough matchup for this Lions team in general. Carlton Davis, I thought, held up decent. I think Terrion Arnold certainly has some work to do, but I thought made necessary plays when they had to have it. But DK had 7 receptions, 104 yards. Again, I thought was a huge factor in this game. Tyler Lockett involved, 5 receptions, 61. Jackson Smith and Jigma had 8 receptions, 51 yards. Those three guys they have to be the best trio in the NFL. Just 3 solid wide receivers in one room. They have got to be the best 3. That is a tough lockup for any team. So I thought with that being said, the Lions held up well. I think they would have liked to limit the points a little bit more. I think they would have liked to be cleaner with the PIs and some of the defensive holding calls that they had. That's something they'll have to work on and focus for the future. We had the fumble from DK Metcalf. I thought that was a big thing in this game. Again, I thought it was a good play from Jack Campbell to come in last second and get that hit to knock the ball out. So that was good. Defensively, again, Kirby Joseph, I thought, held up very well. Makes the play at the end of the game to seal it. 9 total tackles. Had to be huge here with the absence of Brian Branch. So I thought he was very good. Amik Robertson, another player I thought was very good, showed a great veteran presence there, making some plays. I thought he had a few passes defended that doesn't show in these stats, but 8 tackles, also fantastic. Again, Jack Campbell, Alex Anzalone, very good, both with 7 tackles. Carlton Davis, 7 tackles. He really was involved heavily with DK Metcalf coverage. And again, I thought he did okay. I think he needs to... I didn't love the talking to the referees as much as he did, especially considering that those did look like PI calls. Again, something the Lions will have to focus on between him and Terry and Arnold moving forward. The Seattle defense, again, you give up 42 points. It's hard to say you played well, but I thought they held up pretty good considering they were so depleted on their front end, on the front 7. Tyrell Dotson was very good, 10 tackles, had the tackle for loss. I thought he was very good. Devon Witherspoon, I thought held up well. They gave up a few big plays, but he showed good. Julian Love went out early, but he had 4 tackles. Rayshawn Jenkins, 5 tackles, and Tyrese Knight, 9 tackles. So that pretty much wraps up the individual stats here for this game. I thought Jack Fox was okay. I don't think he was as good as he had been in previous games. But again, gave him what they needed punting-wise to move forward. Jake Bates did not have a field goal attempt. He was 6 for 6 on his extra points. But I'll say this. It seemed like each extra point was an adventure except for the long one that he had to kick because of the JMO penalty. That's something to look out for. But he did go 6 for 6. We'll move on. Lions get the victory 42-29. And that's a good look at the team stats. Let's go through a breakdown. I'll recap my game balls, and we'll look forward to next week. And I kind of gave it away there in my stat breakdown, but I think the overall MVP of this game has to be Jared Goff. He was perfect as far as completion percentage today, 18 of 18, 292, 2 touchdowns, in control this entire way through. Lions really led by 2 scores the entire way, outside of a little bit of nerve-wracking moments there in the second half, but the Lions offense was able to make the necessary play, for instance, with JMO, or sustain a drive and get it done. And I just thought Jared Goff was really fantastic. So overall, he is my MVP of this game for Monday Night Football. He gets my overall game ball. Offensively, I'm also giving game balls to Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, and the offensive line. I thought they held up very well, considering the injury to Frank Ragnow. Defensively, I give game balls firstly to Kirby Joseph. We talked about the fact that Brian Branch was out, and I think he really had to hold up that back end of the defense, and I thought they did well. They didn't give up any major, huge plays that killed them here, so I'm going to give him a game ball. I'm also going to give a game ball to Amik Robertson. I thought as the nickel cornerback, he came in and played very, very well. I think the outside corners still have a lot of work, but I think it's better than the options they had in previous years. And I think it's something that they can build on. I'm going to give another game ball to Malcolm Rodriguez. I thought he stepped in and filled in well. We know we're missing Derek Barnes, so they're really having to shuffle some things around. And although Malcolm doesn't necessarily fill that Barnes role to a T, I thought he was big today. 5 tackles, had the sack. I also thought their interior defensive pressure was very good. I thought Aleem McNeil was good. I thought DJ Reader was good. So I'm going to give DJ Reader another game ball there on defense. So the Lions will now move to 3-1. The first quarter of the season is done. And I would say, you know, if you told me they come out of the first quarter of the season at 3-1, a lot of Lions fans would be happy with that. I think, you know, they could certainly as well be 4-0, knowing what happened in that Bucks game and the red zone issues they have. I think, although I don't think all of those problems are solved, there's certainly still some offensive things left to be said here. But I think Jared Goff is rounding into form. I think your running game and the running backs look really good. Amon-Ra St. Brown seems to be rounding into form. Sam Laporta seems to be coming back. So a lot of good things are happening. You hope that some of the injuries now will start to come back. You know, with the upcoming bye week now in week 5, the Lions have a long rest period, which is good until they come back. They'll now have 2 weeks to prepare for the Dallas Cowboys. They'll go to Dallas in week 6, so that'll be something to look forward to. We'll do a full game preview and look ahead to that down the road. But this matchup, I thought the Lions offense was really the star of the show. The defense did just enough to hold in there, and they made the necessary plays, got the stops at the end of the game, made the plays necessary to hold in there. Again, Jared Goff, fantastic. David Montgomery looked like a beast at times. Jahmyr Gibbs, dynamic. Amon-Ra St. Brown just doing everything and anything to ensure that this team is able to win. You know, defensively, I don't know if you had a superstar today. I think it was a great team effort. I think you were able to withhold the Seahawks' true push there in the second half, and that's sometimes you're going to have to win games that way. So again, I'm happy with the performance the Lions gave today in prime time. I thought the black uniforms looked really good. I thought the atmosphere was great. Ford Field was great. The crowd is always great there in Detroit. Just a fantastic scene and great to leave there with a victory. What did you guys think of this Monday Night Football matchup? Did you have the Lions here before we started? Did anything change coming out of this victory? Did anything happen that you didn't expect? What'd you think of that Goff special play? I thought that's really cool. That's a great way to lead into this one, and a great highlight to cap this Monday night. I really appreciate your guys' time. Thank you for coming along for this game review, this game reaction. We'll have the grades, the report card coming up this week. We'll do our tier list. We'll have plenty of time to prep for 2 weeks down the road in Dallas. We'll kind of talk about where the Lions are at. So a lot of fun things ahead. Thank you guys so much for your time. More than anything else, make sure to take care of yourself and your mental health. That is most important. Again, to recap, Lions win on Monday Night Football 42-29 on the strength of their offense and a near perfect performance by quarterback Jared Goff. Thank you guys so much for your time. Go Lions.